Hello everyone, this is Ritesh from Dancing with Data. So what I have for you today? So today we are going to talk about the 2.1 section of the Tableau Desktop Specialist Certification Series. So we will try to create different charts. Not only that, because sometimes it tends to be boring. So today I am going to show you live reporting through my YouTube channel. So you can see there are different tabs over there. So I thought why not to show you the live reporting that has been created by YouTube for the YouTubers like us, because it's a win-win situation for both. So if they give us good insight to our statistics over there, then it will help YouTube only to gain more views. So who am I? So this is our topics for today. But let us try to make it more interesting because we'll go one step back and we'll see how to pick the correct charts. So not only we are going to create those charts, but why should we go for say a line chart or a bar chart? That's an important question actually. So Lakshman has got a project in YouTube where he needs to create an analytics page for all the YouTubers. Now YouTubers should be able to get useful insights like trend, when to post a video, analyze top videos on the basis of views, hours spent, etc. Lakshman will have to pick the best possible chart for each and every scenario. So let's make it a little more interesting. So Lakshman has made some initial analysis over there. So Lakshman has decided to go with the line chart for daily view since it helps us to analyze the trend. So remember, whenever it comes to trend, you think about the line chart only. For example, if there's a consistent dip on Saturdays and hence not a good day, so that day is not a good day to post any videos. So you can see the seasonal component over there actually. So in this case, Saturday, that there's a consistent dip on Saturdays. So because Saturday people, the IT folks, they would not again go and open the laptops and try to learn. Most of the folks would not do that, and that's why you see certain periodical dips over there on Saturdays. So when your data insight is leaning more towards the trend or say seasonal variation, then line chart is the best chart for you. Let me take you to the live chart over there. Now this is the live chart as you can see. So trend for the views, trend for watch time hours, or trend for even subscribers, all will be with respect to line chart. On the right hand side, you can see there is views last 48 hours, which looks similar to this because here we are trying to, rather than we are, instead of getting the seasonal variation or trend, we are trying to compare. Like for the last hours, there were like 8 views. So 9:30 to 10:30, there were 6 views. So whenever you think about the comparison, top end scenarios, sales with respect to the last year, over the year sales, if you're trying to compare, then you think about bar charts. That's why you have bar charts over there. As you can see here as well, for the last 48 hours, he would like to go with bar chart since it is more about comparing views for the last 48 hours or hourly. So if you can see, it is like 9:30 to 10:30, 7:30 to 8:30, and this should remind you of histogram as well. So this is our home page where you see views. The x-axis is nothing but the dates over there, and you have different but tabs over there which will take you to watch time hours or views, and it will show you the trend of say seasonal variation. At the bottom, you can also see your top 10 videos over there, right? So that's all about the overview page over there. So I wanted to show you the live reporting over there. That makes more sense. So let us try to create some line charts over there with our own data set. So this is my real YouTube dataset, and I'll also tell you a few interesting points over there. So you can see this is red one is the view, and the other color is the predict. This color you say actually light teal. Also, this is a combined chart because you can have multiple measures over there depicted by a different color. Views is a type of measure, and the predict is the another type of measure where we are trying to predict the views. Now there is a formula that would help you to predict the views, but that is out of scope for now, but will be covered in the future sessions. Let us now try to create it from the scratch, how we can make it. Let us open a new worksheet. Let us track dates over there. We will have month date over there. That's it. After that, we'll have measure values there. We should have measure name, set color, and we'll try to have only two colors over there, that is predict and views. And that's the way. This is the right chart for me because this is showing me trend for sure. As you can see, my prediction and the actual views are not going bad until this position, if you see, which is around 2020, say March, where it was expected to flatten over there, but it has gone up and up and up. And guess what? You know why it is? Now, this is because of the lockdown, because lockdown happened over there. So, not only for my channel, but for the online e-portal industry, it was a good time because there because a lot of people were at home and they were spending more time learning new stuff because they were at home, or maybe because they lost the jobs. Because of that also, a lot of views over there. So that's why, YouTube formula was not able to predict that part over there. And this line chart is the best chart to analyze such scenarios. And this is also an example of the combined chart where you have two different measures at the same axis. So when I'll be going with the bar chart, then let me try to alter this chart only, and I'll show you when you go with the bar chart with respect to YouTube views for the main page. So I removed the predict views. I'll come over there and I'll say year. And now you can see this is discrete, and I'm more interested to compare my views across different years. So this makes more sense when you are trying to compare, and you can see there is a consistent rise in the number of views across the years. So bar graph is more of with respect to comparison, whereas line chart is more of seeking trend or seasonal variation out of the data set. In the actual live reporting also, you can see that we are comparing, right? That's why you have bar or histogram sort of graph. There are other interesting charts as well. Now Lakshman has decided to go with the donut chart for displaying traffic sources type, an appropriate way to show the proportion, but it is complicated with the horizontal bar chart, right? Remember, it is not easy to convey all the messages with a pie or donut chart. For example, minor differences between the proportion and all. So if I take you to the live report, so from overview, I've switched over to reach, and here you can see. So sometimes it's difficult, right? If you see this portion and this portion with the pie chart, it's difficult to know the minor differences like 5.6. Right now, both are equal. But in the case where when I took the screenshot, it was like 5.6 and 5.5. But right now, both are equal. So that's fine. But it's always difficult. So that's why they have complemented this with again with the bar chart over there, and with a sort of top end scenario like YouTube search is 48%, then this, then this, then this, and then this. So when it comes to display the proportion, pie chart or a donut chart is a good chart to display, but it has its own complication. For example, it's difficult to see if there would have been 5.6 and 5.5, it would have been difficult for you to detect from your naked eye. So that's why they have complemented this with the bar charts there. But why you need this one when you have already this one? This is a question that we need to ask ourselves. Now, coming to the another funnel chart, are a type of chart often used to represent stages in a process. For example, for my YouTube channel, first of all, there will be certain number of impressions. Impressions are nothing, but whenever you're trying to search any particular video, so you see a series of videos over there, and you will try to click a particular video out of the number of visual impressions of different YouTube videos, right? So impressions will always be more than the actual view that you get out of that. So that is this is impression, and from that you get 2.8k views, and out of that there will be certain number of hours that you are getting out of views. So funnel chart is good to display such scenario like 50.6k impressions, then views 3.1k, and at the end, out of those views, I'm getting 151.63 hours for the last 28 days. Now we talked about combined chart. Let's talk about the dual chart, and I'll give you a live scenario where we use that. For example, if you see this one only, this is an area chart which is quite easy to make with the tab. So if you come to Tableau, you'll have to just switch from automatic to area. I'll change that color to a lighter one. Okay. Now, if your boss would say, get me this look and feel where you have a dark border line over there. Okay, you would try it with this with the help of the default function. Now, what is the default function? You go to color and you say, I want a border over there with this. Right. Now you got the border. Now again, and you represented this in front of your boss. And he says, Ritesh, I would like to have similar to the original one. I don't want to see border over there. Right. Now what to do then? Because here it is like covered and there can be crazy explanations for the same, but you have to do that for your boss. Now dual access in this scenario can help you to rescue out of this situation. Let me go back. I don't want like this. And I put it over there. Now I have two and I'll turn one of these two before making, okay, um, before making this a dual axis, let me try to change that to line and change the color to somewhat darker. And now I create a dual axis and boom, that is what your boss wanted, right? This is an example of dual axis. You got it. In some of the other cases, you would also like to represent each measure with a different mark type. Like in this case, views and watch time hours both are related to each other. So I turn one of them as bar, views as bar, and now turn that as dual axis. Remove the null, and here you go. So here I have the luxury of having different mark types like bar and line. Now let us create a map using geographic data and make sense out of that. We'll do it from the scratch. You have to go to the geographical field state in this case, and I want to analyze, say, profit. I drop it to the color, and here you can see for the year you say 2015, which I can get with show filter. Now, Colorado is the only state which is surrounded by profitable state, but itself it is non-profitable state. Profit is in on the negative side. So it's an easy way to analyze that. Tableau would automatically detect state, city, or postal code as geographical data, and you'll have to just go and double click on that. In the case when Tableau won't detect the location, it will say 3 unknown. You can just click on that and you can try to edit the location. You have the option to give latitude and longitude if it is not detected by Tableau itself. In this case, I can just go to country and maybe there is some ambiguity over there. So I will set the state as United States over there because it was set to none over there. Now I think everything is fine. Let's move over to the scatter plot. A scatter plot uses dots to represent values for two different numerical variables. The position of each dot on the horizontal and vertical axis indicates values for individual data points. So basically, scatter plot are used to observe relationships between the variables. So in this case, again, I'm talking about impressions and views, and there is a definite relationship between impressions and views. The more impressions you have of your videos means there is a probability to have more views for that particular video. So that's why I picked views and impression. Remember, I'm again talking about this one, the funnel chart that we talked about. So if you can see, we have derived a linear line out of it. And if you see the R square value, that should be closer to 1. P value should be lesser than 0.05. So this is quite a good line actually. And views, that means I'm in a position to predict my views if I have impressions with me. That means views is equal to 0.11 that digit into impressions plus 100.327. So we are getting the relationship between the two variables. Then how to create this one? It's very simple. So let us do it from the scratch. I get impression, I get views, and I go to analysis. I disaggregate that. I'll get rid of some junk values over there. And this is also not correct, so I need to keep it out of this equation. Here we go, and after that, right click, trend line, show trend line, and here you go. R square is closer to 1, p value is less than 0.05, so we got the relationship. That's cool. Now let us try to learn two types of stack bar 1, stack bar 2. In the first case, I'm using a separate bar for each dimension, right? Copier, envelope, furnishings. And the second one, I'm using a separate bar for each measure. So if you see for profit, I have one bar. For sales, I have another bar. So it's quite simple. Just replicate this one for the first one. You should have measure name at filter and show that you have selected profit and sales over there. And after that, you don't have to do anything. For the first case, when you have a separate bar for each dimension, at the end, you can just drag measure name to the color so that each measure is represented by a color over there. But for each bar, you are having a dimension over there because you have dragged dimension to columns over there. These are stacked bar type 1. The stacked bar type 2, you will have measure names and measure values at columns and rows respectively. And instead of measure names to the color, you will drag the dimension to color. Subcategory to the color, it is straightforward, and you will get a separate bar for each measure. So these are the two types of stacked bar. With respect to density map, I would like to show you something which is more interesting. Recently, I participated in this hackathon and I reached, means my team reached the final along with Minu Chaudhary. So there I did make use of this density map. That was helpful for me to get one useful insight actually. So considering this as the original map over there, it is very difficult to understand, right? Because there are so many points over there, and that would be overlapping with each other. So when there is a case of overlapping, it is difficult for with your naked eye to understand the pickup point, with the most number of frequency over there, right? So what are these? These each single point over there means a pickup point. What if there are so many pickup points which are getting overlap, which are overlapping each other? So that's how this density map is very useful, where it shows darker color whenever there are more number of points and lighter color whenever there are less number of. So let us turn this to density map and see what we can find it out. Okay, let us try to turn it. Now this is the density. Let me make the background as dark so that it is more visible. And let me reduce the size. So here now you can see this is the point, right? This is the darkest point if you see. So this is the place where you have the maximum pickup. And when I investigate about this location number 15, this was nothing but the airport location, which was correct. So if I take you to the other one, this pickup area 14, 14, 14. That's what they have shown. This is another way to show the same thing, but with the map, instantly we got that. This is also definitely an example of the heat map where you are communicating with colors. Yes, highlight table is the another form of a heat map that you are using quite frequently. In fact, if you just go and go to the taskbar, you will get a heat map over there as well. This is quite similar to that, right? How do you make it? It is very, very simple. So if you say let me make from the sketch, there is nothing. You have weekday, this formula, date part. We just want weekday over there, and this is nothing but the same data set. So for the different months and quarter and year, I want to see the intensity of views over there. So here I had just year, right down to quarter, then month. Here I am having this very particular formula, date part, weekdays and date. And after that, what I want views over there at the label, and at the same time I need view at the color as well. That's it. You are getting the same look and feel. So here also you are trying to communicate with colors, and here the finding is that again 2020, because of the lockdown, if you see a lot of views over there, especially after the lockdown period over there. So if I compare this with there is a big jump over there. Another finding is Saturday is again the worst day to post any video. So I hope this session was useful for you with the certain live example with my live data set for the YouTube. So just keep on dancing with data, क्योंकि data ही दाता है, क्या तुमको सब कुछ आता है.